Hi everybody, Josh the RV Nerd with Bish's RV down here at Coachmen today, showing you what's new, what's fun, and what's in store for 24. We are going to take a fast flyby look at a bunch of different things all in one video, rapid fire today. Not really in-depth on any one specific thing, but what I need from you as we go, leave me some little notes and comments, let me know kind of what new features and changes, and especially which floor plans really speak to you, so I can help prioritize which ones I want to focus on. Got a fly in here. Oh, that is the worst feeling. Sorry. Obviously, I don't edit my videos a lot. But anyway, I'm going to chapter mark the video so you can easily reference which units kind of appeal to you if you want to go back and scope them out later. And again, let me know which ones you want to see, and I'll get you some full in-depth footage as soon as I can. Understand, though, this stuff takes a lot of time. So let's get rolling. We're going to kick our way off here with the little guys in the towable family and work our way up, beginning with the new 164 BHX. A lot of manufacturers are making something like this. And let's just be real. Let's give credit where it's due. This is everyone trying to chase after the Coleman Lanter 17B, which is just an unbelievably successful model out there in terms of total sales volume. If what you're looking for is like your first family camper, this little thing you want to take out there, this one works. But one thing they did different from almost everybody else I've seen try to build something like this, it still has a furnace. What they didn't do is they didn't gut the thing to make it the absolute dirt cheapest, dollar cheapest thing you've ever seen out there. It still maintains some good content, although I will say I would appreciate personally a shower surround. These are exciting though. The Expedition series has something that's always felt like it's so close, and this year I think they're finally there. This is the first time we've ever seen Catalina do a like a hung fiberglass over a wood skeleton wall. These have 200 watts of factory standard solar, 1,000 watt factory inverter. You can expand on that solar if you want to. They're using a heavy gauge wiring through basically the entire family. So if you do decide you want to daisy chain some panels on things, it's not real hard. And did you notice that color change awning right there? It's got one of those like 16 color like party remote kind of jobs, but you can also just straight shut that down and make it one color if you want to. Red if you don't want neighbors to come over, maybe green if you do. I don't know your color code. This is basically the Expedition series is like the Catalina Summit 7 all beefed up on steroids, where it has more storage. Again, on this, basically everything you see is standard. There's not really options on this, like the roof cargo and kayak rack, the factory solar package, the inverter. All that stuff is specific here to the Expedition. I would really like to see one drawer in the kitchen, but you know, in all my videos just like this one, I try to share things that are good with maybe things that aren't, so that you can make your best and most educated decisions possible. Expedition series is going to start picking up things like USB plugs, which are both Type A and Type C, if you know the difference between there. Also, they finally started moving the skylight vent fans above the shower. This floor plan, like I said, is finally out. This is their version of like a Transcend 265, but they've done some weird, interesting things. They put a junk in the trunk camp kitchen on this sucker, and I've never seen a manufacturer do that since like 2012. You know, that's a feature I never really saw happen before. But it's like an open concept rear double over double beds, but it makes the living area look and feel so wide open. And again, smart spacing and inclusion for those USB plugs. This is something I think is very interesting, and I'm really curious to know what people think. They're calling this the SLS, the sit lounge sleep arrangement right here. And it is kind of like a glorified bifold sort of sofa, where it is still a two-section, but it folds out like a trifold. So it kind of becomes like a big lounge. You could sleep a smaller person on it, or a big dog or something like that. And on some of their floor plans, it really helps kind of like cheat the neck wrecker entertainment center kind of situation, so you're not really hard cranking your neck all the way around. They've gone carpetless, which is something I actually heard Catalina was not going to do that, and yet they are moving toward it. And as you're seeing there, a lot of brands are slowly moving away from propane ovens in a lot of things. I think a lot of boondockers aren't going to be happy about that, people who like cookies and biscuits, but it seems like a lot of manufacturers are moving that way, but not all of them. And it's one of the reasons I like having so many different brands and so many different videos come out, so that you can see which models have the features and the qualities that best fit you. Stuff like including USB plugs around the bed that they didn't do before. Those little details, it's nice to see Catalina step up. But models like this that they had before, their Legacy 243 RBS, this was by far and away the most popular Catalina Legacy model, and they made some really smart updates. Now, when I was talking about the Expedition having that heavy gauge wiring and whatnot, it's standard, the solar package, the wiring, the charge controller is all standard on Expedition. Through the rest of the family, you can get that put on as an option, which is kind of cool. So some factory solar is available on these. Notice that you do have a propane oven here, though, so it's not something that's like completely gone. But this model's been updated and improved. Previously, right here, instead of that gigantic, awesome open prep space, it was this weird, like, elevated dining bar with a couple of optional stools, and it was the only Catalina floor plan that was anything like that. So what they did is they expanded out that counter space, they built it out, they created more cabinet storage inside, and they allowed for that little camp kitchen station outside that this never had before. Overall, I think it's better than it was, and this is one of those models where that SLS sit, lounge, sleep situation might really help you kind of, stretch out and sort of turn toward the entertainment center on a rainy day, especially if you slap on a pivoting TV or anything like that. Now, moving over into their double Asdel laminated lightweight, starting with an Apex Nano, which means this is tandem axle and narrow body. All the Nano series is 7.5 wide narrow body. You've got 200 watts of factory solar standard through basically the entire laminated trailer lineup now. And this model right here is an interesting kind of offset to their 313 RDS, where it's a couple rear chairs. Now, they told me they may be tweaking the blue on those recliners. That naval blue can be a little aggressive for some folks, but the longer I looked at it, the more it kind of softened up to me. It had kind of that sort of like lighthouse, cabin by the lake kind of feel. And the Nano series has that Stargazer skylight up there available where you can just, really make the RV look and feel bigger. And in a small space, that is super handy. Something else I think is cool, just like the 213 RDS, you've got that long kitchen that goes all the way down one side of the RV to actually give us some pretty decent prep space. But it's just a north-south 2-burner stove, so it doesn't really eat up things. If you want to turn pots and pans, corner to corner, sideways, you can get away with doing that. These aren't made for off-duty, off-grid boondocking, and I apologize I have to kick into wide-angle lens mode here. It makes that bed look bigger than it really is. I don't want to try to mislead you. The one thing I was happy to see, though, no outside speakers. They went with that portable thing on those Nano models, and I am so happy to see it. Now, moving up here into their actual 8-foot wide tandem axle ultralight series, the 251 has been around for quite a few years, but it just always kind of felt a little bit off, and this year it feels like they really nailed it. The weight on this, like most of these Apexes are under 6,000 pounds dry weight. Now, obviously, you got your GVW above that a little bit, but this is a classic sofa galley slide where it's, your theater seat across from the entertainment and your kitchen all built into one slide out. And that combination somehow keeps the RV so short and lightweight by comparison, while still giving us a full camp kitchen and a big bathroom and a private true queen bedroom that has that easy lift bed storage. I mentioned theater. It's a kick-out incliner situation, maybe not necessarily a true theater seat, but that does mean it can still bifold into a small little guest sleeper. So if it is just two of you sometimes, and then occasionally maybe you have a couple grandkids or whatever, you can actually have sleeping for 4 in this, although guests 3 and 4 are going to have to be a little bit on the smaller side. Now, Spirit and Apex do this a lot, this vaulted bed storage system. You saw that foam kind of comfort pad on there. You can use that to sit there and do laundry or something, or you can slide it under the bed like a little bit of a pet bed or something like that. But this shocked me. The rest of the Apex stuff felt very familiar, maybe with a little different look. This used to be called Apex Terra, then it briefly became called Remote, and now it's like they've really dialed it in. They've totally changed the color palette. They've given it all these crazy oval-shaped windows. Everything about this feels completely different, foreign, and alien from anything else I've ever seen out of the Apex family, and it's maybe my favorite thing they've ever put out in the Apex family. Now, they need your input on this. They are talking about offering some level of enhanced solar package. What we're looking at here is a 3-panel 600-watt system with 3,000 watt inverter and big lithium battery, but they may not necessarily go that route. By default, this would have 200 watts of solar and a 30 amp controller. What do you think makes for a better, big solar package. Should they keep doing what they're doing? Should they scale to only be like 400 watts and a 2,000 watt inverter? They are asking directly for your input on what to do here, and it may be a situation where the people that speak the loudest, their voices are heard. Now, did you notice the key details too? Like, even though it's a small little camper, still including a couple drawers in the kitchen, something that a lot of single axles simply lack, and shockingly good campsite window coverage, plus you have that crazy windshield up front. The views and visibility in this smaller series is actually surprisingly good. The counter space in the bathroom didn't suck. The longer I spent in this, the happier I was, and the remote series is 7 foot wide. Whereas the Nano series is 7.5 wide, and then the ultralights are 8 foot wide, but they're all going to be at least 6.5 foot tall inside, if not a little bigger. Now, moving up from Apex to its big brother Freedom Express, one of the first things I want to tell you is what you wanted to see for 2 years has happened. Out with the old decor. A lot of people said, I'm not into this whole black on black thing, and they have lightened, brightened, and freshened and modernized this up, and I think it's exactly what a lot of folks are looking for. It's got this deep, rich, natural wood tone. What I will tell you is my camera is not exactly friendly to things in this sort of brown tone family, so it might look a little bit different in person, but right here, it has one of those gigantic hideaway pantry-tainment centers, but not only do you have the extra storage, like shelf space in there, it could be extra closet space. And where you see that little bar in the middle of the closet, that will be a removable shelf. So if you want some extra, hanging space in there, you'll be able to have it. Now, this has a removable ladder, so you don't have to throw the kids into the upper bed, but it's also out of the way as you're coming and going and not tripping you up in the entryway area right there. And right here, this was interesting. You've got this nice big rectangular shower and these deep linen pockets beside it. One idea that I had is if those pockets were only half as deep and then recessed into the wall for the upper and lower bunks were like a little phone charger pocket station for the kids. Let me know what you think about an idea like that, and I'll get that feedback back to them. Now up front, 60 by 80 True Queen bed with their version of the Easy Lift vaulted bed storage system, all aluminum framed under that, by the way, and their dresser drawers open outward, so you don't necessarily have to lift the bed. But look at the storage around the bed. They completely redesigned the front profile on every single Freedom Express this year to do this by giving you these the double drawers and the headboard power pockets. Behind those, you have household plugs, and you see how you've got that little cord feed hole right there, so that if you want to plug something in down there and set your phone charger on the top shelf, you can do that. This new 258, I think absolutely, if you like the 257 but you didn't like the neck wrecker entertainment or whatever, the 258 solves all of those things. And that extra storage outside, notice how they didn't try to get cute and shove a mini fridge there, because they already have a camp kitchen, and they're one of the only ones with a real sink in a camp kitchen, but it's going to be going from the wood that you saw to that rolled steel that you see right there. Every single camper we're looking at in this video is a prototype, by the way, so kind of keep that in mind. But this new 298, this is crazy bonkers, and I really kind of like it, because private rear bedrooms have become very, very rare. Well, guess what, Carol Baskin? That's exactly what this one has, with a Mega XL junk in the trunk storage system behind a rear bedroom. Now, that does mean that this one has a pretty hefty hitch weight. You're probably going to be 3/4 ton country, but they made a custom full giant U-dinette across the front of it, and that folds down into a mega bed. You've got breeze windows all the way around. You have viewing through the entire living room. You can see the neighbors, the front, your campsite of the RV with windows all over the place. And it's something like 42 square foot of countertop area in this. It's absolutely insane, with drawers, right below the countertop level around the entire thing. Not to mention, of course, below the sink, one of my favorite things, the utensil drawer. Now, this is prototype number 1. It's very much in its prototype phase. That is the second decor. Again, on camera, it looks a lot more terracotta clay than, but you still have that more brown tone furniture that we saw in the 258 you could always go with. This is a classic gigantic middle bathroom, and if you remember the old Coachmen Royale, it really sort of reminds me of that, where it has 2 monstrously large storage closets in the walk-through middle bathroom, but this one is prepped and ready for combo or stackable washer dryer if you're so inclined. So this could be a seasonal park camping monster. And there's a good example of some of those removable kind of shelves that we were talking about. Whereas over here, again, removable shelves on the right, that could be a double hanging closet. It could be a single hanging closet. And yes, you will have doors on the wardrobes. Again, in the prototype phase, this one isn't quite fully buttoned up right yet. Things like the raw cuts on the wood, this is just more of a proof of concept. But being a flat rear wall, you have a triple decker storage system kind of going on the headboard power pockets. Now, somewhere between Freedom Express and Apex exists the Coachmen Spirit series right here, which reminds me, something I did not share with you on the Apex series is that they will all start including that bracket for a telescopic removable ladder. Oddly, to my knowledge, the Spirit series will continue to not include that as we look at that blank wall in the back. Rear entertainments like this have become a little less common. It is still kind of cool to know that they're out there. Freedom Spirit does some very interesting things in their full ultralight series. So they're carpetless, they're ventless. You can see how the main floor and the slide floor absolutely match one another, which is, I think, very cool. Makes the RV look bigger, but the RV physically is bigger. It is 6'9" from floor to ceiling panel, plus it has a mini vaulted ceiling. It has the exact same kind of ceiling clearance as something like a Rockwood Signature travel trailer. And if you are taller than the average bear, if you need more prep space, you want more open area, this is a model that just flat out does things that a lot of other RVs just don't do. In some ways, it almost reminds me of that old 281 Montana floor plan, but I really like how when you're at the theater seat like this, you're staring out a giant window on the campsite of the RV, because at first glance, it doesn't look like it has awesome campsite viewing, but it's actually pretty good. And the extra ceiling height in this, even when you're standing in the shower, when you're over 6 foot tall like I am, is fantastic. Their bedroom or bathroom storage in this was also pretty great. And just like we saw in Apex, Apex and Spirit share a lot of DNA. You have that exact same vaulted under storage situation going on with all the drawers and the pet bed and the pet friendly features going on there. And that is a true queen, by the way. And that headboard shelf is back far enough you're not going to knock yourself out if you stand up too quickly. Something else that was a little bit interesting in that bedroom around the corner was that extra little kind of mini desk sort of vanity station. Now, jumping from the trailers to the fifth wheels, I've not had a chance to cover a lot of these. The Chaparral used to have 3 series. Now you just have Light and Chaparral. This new Light, this is cool. It reminds me a lot of the floor plan of like a Cougar 2100 rear kitchen, but with that awesome door side dining bar with the big window overlooking your side of the RV. This thing was very cool. And I don't know what RV rep left his computer sitting there, but I logged onto his Facebook page and I left some very questionable remarks for his friends and family. I'm joking, of course. Anyway. The counter space in this is fantastic. It reminds me a lot of like an Imagine 23 LDE floor plane, but adapted into a fifth wheel kind of situation. And that is not a knock against them. One of the only downsides of this floor plan is when the slide closes, you're going to lose your bedroom and bathroom in the upper deck. But if that's not super important to you, or if you're okay with the fact that a rack and pinion slide could open partially and you could slip past it, this could be a really sneaky good option for you. The Catalina Light series doesn't add a lot of fluff stuff. They stay pretty streamlined, pretty straightforward. Like you got a true queen bed up front, the headboard, side power pockets, but big closet space built in there, and a small fifth wheel with dual air conditioners like that is something where if you're gonna go camping in hot climate, might keep you nice and comfy. Now, this is where you're gonna find most of your Chaparral stuff in just the traditional like Chaparral series. And this 30 RLS, it gives us opposing living room super slides with an island. Like this floor plan's been done to death a lot. But just to show you another flavor of it, again, I don't get to touch a lot of these. They always find interesting little tweaks. Like the extended kitchen bar that could also be dining, or you could maybe use it as desk space or a little craft area. Chaparral as a brand, I think, is highly underrated in a lot of things, and specifically for daily use and feature functions. There's a lot of brands that have very pretty gimmicks and whiz-bangs and gizmos, but the stuff you're going to need every day, like look at the light switch right behind that freestanding table and chair right there. Anywhere that you sit, you can reach over and flick a switch to turn the lights off above you. I get that that doesn't sound like the sexiest feature in the world, but that is one of those things that you will use, see, feel, and touch every single day you go camping. And that's what Chaparral has a lot of. The things that you're going to use every day, that kind of like squeezing toothpaste from the wrong end of the tube, Chaparral's squeezing the toothpaste from the correct end of the tube. Now, they do still have a little bit of carpet up in the bedroom, but some people like a little bit of carpet for their chilly feet at night. And again, second air being available here. They are also very claustrophobic friendly kind of floor plans with those closet slides. Now, Chaparral's big brother, Brookstone, everything Chaparral does, Brookstone does. Now, all your Coachmen laminated stuff, by the way, dual Asdel. So even here in Brookstone, inside and outside layers of the sidewall, they're both Asdel, so they're not using a whole lot of wood product. And, oh my gosh, something I failed to talk about all the way back in Freedom Express, they are now using plywood floor decking instead of laminated floors. Some people got worried about block floors getting soft. Well, these bigger RVs, they're not doing that anymore. But look at this. That is a theater seat and dining and kitchen, like coffee bar, mega slide. So the whole living room and the kitchen all share a campsite mega slide slathered with windows, all kinds of space, and crazy prep space all the way around this one. This was one of the more bigger, grand open fifth wheels in the living area I've seen in a long, long time. And like, you know, if you want to sit there and grab a bite while you're watching, you know, the big game or something like that, you got the perfect little buffet place to do it. Or if you're sitting at that theater seat, you can just kind of reach behind you and grab a handful of chips and then drop a couple crumbs in between the couch cushions. I know I'm not the only one that does it, so don't even judge me for... It almost feels funny because it's so big. It's not a small TV. It's just a really big wall. It almost feels like, I don't know, maybe they could have actually made the TV even bigger in this one. But they use kind of the same size TV across all their families right there. Now, this one has that big double lavatory. So the bathroom in this is like 43% bigger than an industry standard bath. And you can absolutely give an elephant an enema by reaching up all the way into that sucker. Those are big, deep cabinets. King beds available. You could put a queen in this if you wanted to. Of course, washer, dryer, prep. And I'd be curious what you liked and want to see more of as the year rolls on and I get more videos done. So thanks again for tuning in. Once again, do me a favor, leave me some notes. Let me know which models and which things really kind of jumped out at you the most to help me really prioritize which ones I get a chance to really focus and deep dive in later this year, because I only so many hours in every day and there's only one of me trying to put it all together. And your information, you folks, continue to drive this channel. So help me help you, Jerry Maguire style. And if you appreciate what we're doing, getting you looks at all these different things, if you like this style of video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And don't worry, like, this isn't going to become my normal format. This is just a limited time opportunity for me to get a whole lot of information out there for you real quick. So until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.